The triggering event has turned into something that is beyond a 12, 24, 48, or even 72-hour event. You know now that things are changing and not for the better. As the event continues to unfold and the consequences of everybody's actions becomes apparent, whether it's through mostly peaceful protesting, riots in the streets, looting, raiding, people losing jobs, and finding that 2 weeks to flatten is not all that it's cracked up to be. You now have to make a few decisions on what it is that you want to do from here, right? Odds are, if you are a prepared citizen, you are well prepared to handle the short-term natural disasters, right? We're talking flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes in the area, energy shortages, brownouts, blackouts. You have some water stocked up. You have some food stored away. You have a generator. You can do all of the things to maintain life in a normal, ordinary event. But what happens when this event goes beyond a week? The same event has gone now for over a week. What changes do you suppose are happening regarding law enforcement and the military? This scenario comes from the SHTF field manual linked down in the description below. So we love to assume, right? We're not talking months into some kind of crazy event. We're talking short term. There is some kind of civil unrest. What are the law enforcement? What do you think that they are going to do? Will they enforce some kind of curfew? Will they attempt to set up some checkpoints on some major roads or intersections, bridges perhaps? Maybe near some major infrastructure facilities, thinking about dams, right? Thinking about power generation plants, nuclear facilities, all of the things that are required for society to continue with some kind of normalcy. Or maybe they're looking for the raiders. How does what they do impact what you do? Right now, like in the current present day, you have pretty unrestricted movement. You can come and go as you please. But can you get around if there were some checkpoints? Something to consider. What options do you believe are feasible to take now concerning safety and staying in place or navigating somewhere else? So everybody has these ideas about bugging out. But at this stage in time, that's probably going through a lot of people's minds, especially if they're in an inner city and things have become to get real. They are probably thinking, I need to get out. I need to go get to my friend's house. I need to go to my relatives. And so you've seen rush hour on a regular day in a major city. Things come to a standstill when it's nothing but a fender bender. What would it be like trying to move through a major urban center in a vehicle amongst the kind of traffic that you would encounter? What kind of risks are you assuming now? Or do you want to just stay and hunker down in place? Some of this may be dictated based off of, obviously, your actual location, how much stuff that you have, and how you can defend it so that you can ensure that you keep it, right? Even without a invading force or a physical strike, how would shutting down the economy and severely degrading all forms of communication requiring the internet to have on society, right? So imagine a blackout that lasts beyond a week. And what if there is some damage to transportation? And so now your hospital, which was had to turn running on generators, can't get any more fuel. And so now that there are special convoys moving fuel, Well, those are high risk movements and targets of opportunity for dudes who aren't good, right? Are people still working? Are they taking cash? Are stores open? Are they boarded up? Have they all been emptied by looters? We've seen this happen in the major cities on the east and the west coast of raiding happening and people taking advantage of a time of crisis for their own personal gain. And most of the time, they're not even taking anything that's ultimately worth anything. But what about all of your regular stores? Maybe it's your grocery stores. Do you suppose that after a week of this type of event that they're still going to be open? Do they have to adjust their hours? Have they hired folks to come and help secure their facility? Would you do that? Would you go stand watch at a grocery store to make sure that nobody was looting or raiding? Would you do that? Would you go stand watch to ensure that nobody was looting or raiding a grocery store, knowing that the rest of your community needs it? What sort of rationing is happening now, and how do you think that that is impacting the mindset of the people who are used to having everything right now? How much fuel, food, and other supplies do you have on hand right now? Not like what are you going to do to get ready for something, but how long of an event can you endure right now? Odds are the most important things to have is water and food, but you also need to be able to secure your location. You need to be able to maintain a core body temperature, especially if you live in a hot climate. Maybe you're out in the desert, or maybe it's the wintertime when this happens, and there are sub-freezing temperatures. Have you communicated with your neighbors? Do you trust them? Right? Odds are your immediate neighbors in this kind of event are the only people that you can probably get to freely. Do you have a good relationship with them? Do you know them? Do they know you? Do you know each other's skills? And how can you work together to ensure that your particular neck of the woods, or that your block, or whatever, remains a place that is safe? Things may not be so crazy that you can't send your kids out, right? But odds are, if something has gone on a week and there's looting and raiding in town, you may be concerned that this may overflow and come back into your area. So you may not want your kids out. Speaking of kids, are schools still open? Now, something to consider as you consider what a true SHTF scenario may be, whether it's natural or man-made, or a combination of both. History has shown us, time and time and time again, that except for exactly where there is a point of conflict at that apex, life and society goes on. Power is still being generated. Beans are still being processed. Bullets are still being made. People are going to work. And things have emerged into a new form of reality and normalcy. A lot of time dudes get it twisted, and all they do is go down this rabbit hole and end up with some sort of Mad Max scenario. The likelihood of something like that happening, the probability of something like that happening, is slim to nil. But there are tons of things between right now in the slow boil that we've been in. It's like a frog, right? It almost kind of feels like we are a frog that's been put into a pot onto a burner, and somebody slowly is cranking up the heat. Eventually, it's going to start boiling. And then it'll be too late. All of those times in between, the normal and the point of extinction, there are scenarios, encounters, and events that are much more likely than that extinction point. So what are we doing? What are you doing to prepare for these times of trial and tribulation? How do you reach out with those and work with those that you love? How have you networked with those around you in your area? How have you developed relationships to endure and have increased resilience as you are thinking about how to mitigate risks? Looking forward to seeing your thoughts and your comments down below as we all continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. Team, I appreciate you guys. Make sure, if you want to know how to do some of these things, it's all laid out in the SHTF field manual, at least quite a bit of it. Link down in the description. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!
The last thing I have for you to consider, as we are interacting with one another, whether it's here through some sort of social media platform, or whether we are working and talking amongst our community in our area, that proving our point is much less important than protecting our peace. You see, so many times we get rattled up and we have to argue in order to prove us right. And instead of asking questions and seeking information and guidance and truth, particularly with the big T, we ask our own answers and we demand that others who may have a contrary opinion believe in us and our way of seeing things. But all this does is impact our own mental state as we continue to attack other people who are generally probably like-minded. Maybe they're not on the other extreme. And even with those folks, no matter who it is, if we allow ourselves to dig ourselves into this matrix of uncertainty and believing that we have to be right, we will slowly lose our sanity. It's not worth proving a point in an argument to somebody that doesn't matter, right? Somebody who's not going to listen to you at all. You're wasting not just your time and energy, but you are wasting away your mental state. I would submit to you that it's probably better to push back from these types of arguments and conversations so that you can protect your peace. I appreciate you guys.